Hey everyone. Guess what? I just recorded an entire video without my microphone on, so I'm hoping I remember everything that I said the first time. I hope you all had a wonderful spring break. I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. I hope you got the notification about moving to online classes before you flew back. If you're somewhere that you could stay with family. Oh, you could probably count how many times I touch my face in this video. It's really hard not to touch your face. So, a couple of things. One, I am going to try to record a few videos for you guys, but quite frankly, we have not just had USC Upstate closed, but also schools and daycares closed, so I have kids home with me. My twins are napping. My 3 big kids are having quiet time, so we'll see how long that lasts. And I'm hiding from them in my guest bedroom, making this video for you. So, with that being said, I guess I'm saying that really just to say that this is a time of flexibility and adapting. I know you guys may be in situations that are tough and complicated as well. So I think this is just really a time to work together. I am certainly open to your feedback as we go through this process. Please let me know if you can think of things or things that are working in other classes or really haven't worked in other classes that might make this transition easier. There are going to be some bumps and bruises along the way. It's not going to be a perfect process. So I'm going to work with you, and I hope you will also work with me. So let's talk about the course. What does this mean for the course? Well, quite honestly, it's a little challenging because almost the rest of the class was really based on discussion. A case study that we were going to do, the Dale Carnegie book, presenting and meeting about your projects, doing peer feedback sessions. So it is a little complicated to try to recreate that in a virtual situation. So I have been thinking a lot the last week about how could we recreate discussion, and the honest answer is we can't. So then the next question is, how do we do it the best way we can, knowing it won't be ideal? So there are really 3 options that I've come up with. One is to use Blackboard discussion boards and tell you, here's the number of posts you have to have, here are the number of responses you have to give to people, and kind of that typical thing that you might have seen in another class. The second is to use something like Flipgrid, which is a sort of classroom solution. It's like a classroom Snapchat, if you will. We'll talk more about that in a second. And the third would be to use a private Facebook group, which is why I asked you about your social media use last week in that email. So let me walk through those, and then I'll tell you what I'm leaning towards. So number 1, Blackboard Discussions. On one hand, it's easy for me to grade. You've used it before most likely, so it's not a new system that you have to learn. So those are the pros. The cons are that Blackboard discussion posts kind of suck. Nobody really, in my experience, no one really likes them. They find them tedious, and they don't really facilitate actual discussion. So you could do them, but most people find them to be busy work, and I really want to create some sort of actual discussion. So that brings us to number 2, Flipgrid or something similar. These are solutions for schools or classrooms that are supposed to sort of mimic regular social media, but allow you to grade and bring things into Blackboard and things like that. They're kind of fun and interesting. The downside is that, primarily the downside in my opinion, is that we have a new thing that you have to download, a new app that you have to learn, something you've never used before, and quite frankly, I've never used it before either, so I don't really know if it will facilitate discussion in the way that would be ideal, or at least optimal given the situation. So that brings us to the third option, which is to use a private Facebook group, invitation only kind of Facebook group. So pros of this, I think, are 1, it's something that most of us have and are used to using. Two, it's really easy to share to Facebook, right? If you find an article that you think is interesting, most of the time there is a really easy link, whether it's on your phone or on your laptop, to simply post it to the Facebook group. So I do like that about it. It's very easy to use, and it's simple in the way that, in terms of sharing. And I think the third pro is that of all three, I think it is the most likely to actually facilitate discussion. Most of us are used to commenting on Facebook posts, seeing them, scrolling through our Facebook feeds, seeing something pop up and commenting on it. So the downside is, of course, that there's no like Blackboard integration. It certainly is harder to grade, which is not really a concern for you, but just trying to find something that will work best for all of us. And of course that I don't know that I want to force you to have Facebook if you don't already have it. With that being said, I'm definitely leaning towards the Facebook group. I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons. I haven't heard from anyone who does not have Facebook at this point. So that's what we're going to go with for the moment. If you have some really major concern about this, please let me know. I do want to make sure this is something that everyone can participate in. I don't want this to be, the reason I really like the Facebook group idea is that I don't want this to be something that's burdensome for everyone, but I want it to be something that's a little bit more natural and easy to facilitate. So that's where I'm leaning at this point. I'm going to go ahead and create the group and start inviting people to it, and I'll send out the link to it. Even if we don't end up using it for the official discussions, we may still use it as sort of an unofficial, just another place for me to send information to you so everyone can stay connected and on the same page. I should note that really for me at this point, if we don't use the Facebook group for the official discussions, we'll probably use the Blackboard discussion groups. So we'll just see where we end up with that. But I'm going to go ahead and make the Facebook group and send that link out, and hopefully we can get started on that. Number two, the next thing really coming up on the schedule is the exam. We were scheduled to do a case study, but at this point, I'll tell you what we're going to do instead of that in a second. Let me get to the exam, because I think that's what we're all probably most concerned about. So the exam. We're going to do the exam online on Blackboard like most of the other exams you've done online. We are not using ProctorU or anything similar. It will be the same format as it would be in class. 40 to 50% short answer essay, 50 to 60% multiple choice. There will be as I said before, just as a reminder, there will be a break-even analysis question on there as an opportunity for extra credit toward your test grade. So if you are concerned that you might not have the 65% average required to pass the class with a C without the extra credit, that might be something that you really want to study extra hard on to get that extra credit. Okay, so that's the exam. It'll be up for about a week so that there's a little bit of flexibility in when you can take it. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. Online, on Blackboard, I'll post it and send you some details on an announcement on Blackboard. Okay, so then the case study, we're nixing that. It's over. It would be very, very hard to facilitate virtually. So instead, what I would really like you to do is look at the what I would really like you to do is look at the communications that are coming, the strategies that are coming from companies and firms to deal with the coronavirus, whether that is, communications to customers. Like, I don't know about you, but I've gotten probably 25 emails in the last couple of days from every different company I've ever ordered from or subscribed to some sales newsletter or whatever from. Everybody's sending something out. All of them are treating it sort of similar, but a little bit differently. So kind of look at those. What things are effective, do you think? What things might not be effective? What types of appeals and strategies are they using? what the heck do we do about toilet paper being gone from store shelves? So think about those issues and how firms are handling it, how they could handle it differently. And so that'll be sort of the first discussion topic. And we will count that as the grade that you would have gotten for a class activity. Instead, we'll do this sort of coronavirus discussion as that activity instead of the case study. In terms of the project, the only thing that really changes there are the group presentations. I'm not going to ask you to get together with your group to video that at this point. I mean, officially, they're kind of thinking like a couple of weeks that we're going to be online. But honestly, I think it would be not in any way, shape, or form surprising if we end up being virtual for the rest of the semester. So sort of looking forward, thinking that that might be what happens. The tentative plan would be to not do the presentations at all and just remove that from the syllabus. So the only thing you would turn in would be the actual written proposal. Now, if we get back to face-to-face classes, the presentations will stay. Okay. But for right now, just to kind of give you a heads up, if we don't get back to face-to-face classes, that's really the biggest change that we'll have. This video is getting kind of long, but we do need to talk about the peer feedback sessions. So what I'm going to have you do there, you get some points for that, as well as the extra credit for the actual meeting. So I want you to be able to get that extra credit. And so here's where I'm at. If you have better ideas, please let me know, or some other way to show that you sort of met. Okay. Take whatever you have turned in for the target market analysis, and you're going to send it to the group that you've been working with. If you're the group of 3, just send it to everyone in both groups that you're working with. Okay. And you'll go ahead and coordinate with your group members on reviewing that. What I would recommend is to take the peer feedback form, dump it into Google Docs, and then you can all contribute to it at the same time. Then re-download that as a Word doc or a PDF, either way, submit that on Blackboard. I'll post the details of the deadlines, but those are going to be a little bit flexible given the situation. Okay, so that would be for the peer feedback forms. That's just as regular points in the syllabus, 10 points, I think. For the extra credit, if you want the extra credit for those 2 bonus days, here's what I would recommend for that. So the idea is here that it would be some sort of conversation between you and the other team. I think one way to facilitate that would be to upload your draft into Google Docs, share it with the group, and then they can make some comments on it. Then you can comment back. Then you can share it with me, and I can see that you've communicated with each other about where you're at. Same thing so that would be for the target market one, for the target market bonus day that was supposed to be tomorrow. There's another bonus day coming up later. Now, assuming that we are still virtual at that point, it would be the same thing. Just upload the draft of where you're at with the project, because that's not related to a specific assignment, just sort of where you're at. It's getting closer to the due date. So again, upload the draft in Google Docs, or maybe you're using Google Docs, okay? Share it with the group that you're paired with, make comments, comment back, so on and so forth. Share it with me so I can see that you've had the conversation, okay? I think that covers most of the big things at this point. I've probably forgotten something. Let me know. I look forward to hearing from you. Actually, I hope I don't hear from you about the Facebook group being a problem, but if it is a problem, let me know. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to create the group and start inviting you to it, or at least send the link out to it, and we will go from there. Okay. So stay safe, guys. Stay healthy. Flatten the curve. Social distance yourself. Self-isolate, self-quarantine, all of those good things. And I will talk to you soon. All right. Bye, guys.